Heath Ledger died with a script in bed with him. And it's one of the most interesting what-if stories in Hollywood history. Heath Ledger died in 2008 from an accidental overdose due to prescription drug abuse. The 28-year-old had only appeared in 18 movies up until that point, and no doubt had a promising career ahead of him. Who knows what kind of amazing roles he could have played. Well, we just learned about one part he seemed to be considering when he died. Back in February, Malcolm Gladwell released an episode of his podcast, Revisionist History, in which he spoke to screenwriter Stephen Gaghan. Gaghan wrote Rules of Engagement, he won an Oscar for writing Traffic, and he wrote and directed Syriana. In the early 2000s, Gaghan reached out to Gladwell about adapting the latter's non-fiction social science book, Blink, into a feature film. Gaghan would go on to write the screenplay, and years later, it was the script that Ledger was found with when he died. And according to Gaghan, who received a call from Heath Ledger's father shortly after the actor passed, Heath also had a copy of Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, on his bedside table. But what was the screenplay about, and what character would Ledger have played? Blink the book is about the science behind snap judgments and first impressions. Gladwell said that when Gaghan first approached him about adapting Blink into a movie, the writer was obsessed with the chapter about reading emotions and how there are people in the world who are really, really good at knowing what other people are thinking and feeling. And so Gaghan and Gladwell devised the story about a young man who is essentially a human lie detector. It centered around his complicated relationship with his hedge fund manager father, who wants to bleed a steel company's pension dry. It was both an economic satire and a father-son struggle, with a little bit of high concept thrown in. But Heath Ledger wasn't the first star attached. The script was so good it attracted Leonardo DiCaprio to star, and in the mid-2000s sparked a bidding war in Hollywood. Universal won out, giving Blink a green light, a budget, and a schedule. But then Gaghan started revising the script and struck up a close relationship with Heath Ledger. The writer doesn't exactly explain how things shifted from Leo to Ledger, but he said once he started to see Heath in the lead role, he couldn't unsee it. And after The Dark Knight, it seemed they could actually get the movie made with Heath Ledger instead of Leonardo DiCaprio. But then he got the call that Ledger had died, with Blink in his bed. Gaghan explains that Heath Ledger's father called him almost immediately after they found Ledger's body, because his phone number was on the cover of the script. And Gaghan says he probably should not have been privy to that private family moment. The writer then explains that the shock and tragedy of Heath Ledger's passing played a big part in why the movie never got made. But never say never, because Malcolm Gladwell and Stephen Gaghan both believe that the script is something special and just might have been ahead of its time.